Hello there. Happy Sunday, friends and lovers. Thank you for joining us. This is 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir. I am joined, as always, by my lovely and especially gorgeous today co-host, Amy Nasir. Loving the hair. Love it.
Thank you. It changes on its own. It just, it does this, and then I deal with it, and there it is.
These things happen, and we're joined by you. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is Sunday, August 1st. Sunday, August 1st, the first day of what may be the best month of this year. It is the 213th day of 2021, with just 152 days left to make it your best year yet. 146 days until Christmas and 91 days until Halloween. Have you started your Halloween shopping yet? We talked about Halloween. We talked about which stores have Halloween stuff for sale, but of course we don't know firsthand. Well, maybe we do.
I think that we might.
How did Halloween shopping go for you? Amy's actually been out on a Halloween adventure. What happened?
Yeah, okay, well, let me just go ahead and set this down. I can go ahead and show you. So let me tell you, okay, so there's a wonderful store called At Home.
At Home.
And they have a whole, right now at this point, 3 or 4 aisles, plus some end caps of Halloween stuff.
3 aisles of Halloween stuff.
And that's as of late July.
Yeah.
So it's something that y'all need to write down, and you need to take note of this, because
this is important stuff.
For all you Halloween fans, this is how you get your early Halloween fix and say to yourself, it's August now, and it's the Halloween season. So... first, I'll just show you. So at home, this is not terribly wonderful, but these are black candles.
Oh, that's terribly wonderful.
And as you can see, they're lovely long black tapered candles. The bottoms are not white; they're black. So I do hope that they are black all the way through, which would be great. But honestly, this was $3 for 4 black taper candles, which was a great deal. Great deal at the at-home stores. And
okay.
And then now I need to warn y'all. Y'all need to watch your ears. So put your fingers in your ears.
This could get loud.
For only $40, I found this wonderful skeleton face.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Here we go.
Well.
As you can see, beautiful skeleton face here. Now it's very lightweight. It was only $40, and it does change colors in the eyes and the nose and mouth, and it's really lovely. I cannot wait to put that out. I'm thinking maybe September 1st. That's when I start decorating outside.
Well, that will make a lovely addition to our existing Halloween menagerie.
Yeah, another place you need to go is Bath and Body Works, where they have a whole bunch of, I think 6 or so different Halloween scented soaps. This is called Ghoul Friend, and you can buy this lovely ghost case that you can put that into, and just have those little ghosties wash away all the germies on your hands. So there you are. There's that. And lastly, they have really nice candles at Bath and Body Works. This here is my favorite. I did smell all of them. This is called pumpkin carving.
Pumpkin carving.
And you can see the lid is actually like a spider web, if you can see that. And here, I'm going to put this up to the microphone, so take a nice sniff.
You smell that? I smell it. It's working for me.
Robert smells it. But it's a lovely scent, and I cannot wait to burn it.
Especially if you have a partner who doesn't do fragrances, like they have a really sensitive nose and they don't like heavily fragranced things.
And lastly, this is from At Home again. Okay, this is a pillow, same pillow that I bought at Target many years ago.
It's got a spider on it.
It's got a spider on it. It's a wonderful
Why
sequins.
would you buy a pillow? Oh, it's not a real spider.
Yeah, it's a nice, friendly spider. It's a spooter.
Very cute.
And this was only $13, where at Target I paid $20. So I just want to let you know that At Home is a great place to get your early Halloween deals. And one other shout out is I'm looking forward to going to Big Lots, which...
Big Lots?
Big Lots.
Of all places.
Of all places. I did call them recently. They said they've got their Halloween stock in. They just need to put it on the shelf. So in a week or two, they're going to have that up. So those are the treasure places that you need to go to for Halloween.
So, we have people who are Halloween people in our posse, in our core group, in our August company. And so Amy being the queen of Halloween, we can't resist that. But besides there being 91 days till Halloween, it's also August 1st. And on this date 40 years ago, MTV, music television, started broadcasting. So tell us in your chat, those of you who remember the early days of MTV, who was your favorite VJ?
Downtown Julie Brown.
Oh, goodness. That was after my time.
Yeah, she was more of the late 80s.
I go back to the original, Alan Hunter, J.J. Jackson, Mark Goodman, Nina Blackwood.
Right.
Who always had the smoker's...
and still does.
Voice.
Hello. Hey, it's Nina Blackwood.
And, of course, my favorite, Martha Quinn.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
She was a sweetheart, or at least we all imagined that she was. It's also Joe Elliott's 62nd birthday for you Def Leppard fans, and I must admit I have a soft spot for Def Leppard, not just because they have a few really good songs, but right when they became famous, right when they released the album that made them enormous, their drummer rides his sport car off the side of a mountain and loses an arm. The drummer loses an arm. And what do? You're now rich and famous. And they're just getting ready to produce the album that will make them all multi-zillionaires, hysteria. Obviously, you find another drummer, right? No, they keep the drummer, modify his kit so he can play with one hand, and he's still their drummer. So... very cool. Happy birthday to Joe Elliott of Def Leppard. Amy's not a Def Leppard fan, but even she likes that story. And finally, it's National Friendship Day.
Oh, happy National Friendship Day to all of our friends out there, and you know who you are.
That's right. I did a whole talk called Weekends and Holidays, and one of the things I mentioned is I like Hallmark holidays. I like holidays that are created out of thin air. And National Friendship Day was originally a marketing strategy for Hallmark cards back in the early 1930s. Founder Joyce Hall designated the day would take place on August 2nd and decided it would be a day to celebrate the people closest to you and to send them a card or two in the process. But it soon became a bigger deal than originally planned when in 1935 the U.S. Congress pronounced the first Sunday of August, i.e. today, as National Friendship Day.
Oh, that's nice.
The holiday continued gaining popularity. In 1998, the United Nations named Winnie the Pooh as the world's ambassador of friendship.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes. And thanks to advancements in technology, it's easier to get in touch with friends and share and to be thankful for them than ever before. So reach out to somebody. Send an email or make a phone call. You can, your smartphone can actually be used to make phone calls.
Yeah. Here, let's do the commercial.
What commercial?
I need your left hand.
You need my left hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, everybody, get to somebody who's close to you. Grab their hand. Say, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make the world a better place.
If you can.
If you can.
Yes.
I think that was Diana Ross and in some sort of like AT&T or Bell commercial.
Yeah. Bell Labs or AT&T, Ma Bell, Detroit Bell. I remember when all the bells became unified. They used to be the baby bells, and then AT&T took over. And everybody thought AT&T had a monopoly that could not be quashed without government intervention. Nobody could see that wireless was going to make landline phone lines almost obsolete. But things just get better and better all the time and in ways that no overseers can possibly predict. So...
yeah. No central planners can possibly predict.
That's right. So celebrate National Friendship Day, even though it did get a government stamp of approval in 1935. But hey, government is a necessary thing when limited to its proper functions. What are we listening to this week? What have you all been listening to this week? Tell us in the chat.
Well, I know I'm going to start listening again to The Objectivism, the Philosophy of Ayn Rand by Leonard Peikoff.
Now, why would you be listening to all of Opar again?
Because at the end of this month, we're going to be going to Austin, Texas. And,
yes.
I have mixed feelings about that because I don't know what to expect. I've never been to Texas or Austin, Texas before. So we'll see.
It's going to be great.
But it's going to be great.
I've been to Houston. I've been to Houston in the summertime.
Oh, you have?
It's a beautiful thing.
Wow. So, so anyway, Opar is the book that they have the theme for that for this Objectivist conference. So
yes,
it's going to be great.
So along those lines, what I listened to this week, last night, surreptitiously, because I was also attending another event, Leonard Peikoff presents Viennese Operetta, My Virtual Reality. I hope y'all got a chance to catch that. It was posted on YouTube, and unfortunately they've switched it to private, so you can't go back and watch it until they re-release it. We'll find out what's going on with that. My guess is they probably have to strip out the copyright strikes from it, because they gave a lot of examples of Viennese operetta played from DVD. Some of that might need to be stripped out of the original presentation. Outstanding to see Leonard Peikoff, after he has been retired for 6, 7, 8 years now, come out of retirement. And as Lisa Van Dam told the story, this was really a fun thing to me. It wasn't just he was interested in Viennese operetta and wanted to talk about it. As the story's told, he wanted to give a talk, and having a discussion with Lisa about it decided on that topic. And that to me is even more exciting, knowing that the man wants to come out and talk to people, give a presentation, even though he's not working as a professional philosopher. Every time he shows up, he had his birthday celebration last year, celebrating his 86th birthday. You can find that one on YouTube. It was just so charming and wonderful. We also had great fun discussing on our Thursday show, Life on Earth, copper pot objectivism.
Yes.
And the fact that as a student of objectivist philosophy, or philosophy in general, even if you can't fully explain or justify your values, you should never give them up to social pressure. And there was more to it than that. You should listen to that. But today being the 1st of August, along these themes, and being joined by this August company, you, my peers, for whom I have great respect and even reverence, I started an updated regimen, which calls back to several of our previous episodes, and I want to share quickly an outline of what this month looks like to me. But before I do, I come before you, this August company, respected and revered peers, in contrition.
Contrition?
Contrition. I am contrite.
Wait, I gotta look what... I forgot. Okay, so I know the act of contrition out of Catholicism, but I forgot what it actually means.
We'll look it up, and we'll find out if I even used the word right.
Oh, the state of feeling remorseful and penitent.
Penitent, yes.
10 Hail Marys and 20 Our Fathers for you.
That's right. See, what happened was I got a call. I got a phone call, except it wasn't a phone call, but it was on my phone. I got a call earlier from the Lord and Master of all things Ayn Rand Center UK, Rosie Ginsburg. And he mentioned that the usual host of their weekly show, The Weekly Objective, Jonathan Honig, was not going to be available. So he was going to be co-hosting it, and he was wondering if I wanted to co-host it.
Yes.
Now, of course, it's Sunday, and normally around lunchtime on a Sunday, I would be putting the finishing touches on my plans for this show here. For you, for my show for you guys. 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir.
Kind of cut in the, the research time for 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir.
So had I been properly rational and respectful of my top values, I would have said, oh, no, I can't. But frankly, it just sounded like too much fun and too great an opportunity to say no.
Right.
So Amy and I actually did take that role on.
Yes, we did.
I did co-host the call. And
you did a great job of it, by the way. Robert was so good. He had so many great questions for Rosie. He was so good.
But instead of running the usual half hour or 45 minutes that it often runs, it ran for over 2 hours.
2.5 hours.
So to this August company on the 1st of August, I must say that I apologize if this show is not as tightly scripted as usual. I do have a lot of notes, unlike the one 2 weeks ago where it was all done from Post-it notes. But I want you to know that I respect my responsibility to you all to provide quality content. I had posted on Facebook, "Beware the man who holds nothing sacred." Beware the man who holds nothing sacred. The reason I mention that is John the man, posted on the John Galt line on Facebook a question. He said, "What is humiliation?" And that started a discussion about humiliation and a related but different concept, which is humility. And I said, well, these are important concepts and they name important things, and I gave examples from Wikipedia, and there were a lot of people who said, no, humiliation is not something you should ever feel as long as you are virtuous, and you should never not be virtuous. You should never feel humiliation, you should never feel humility. And the reason why I bring it up is because I come to you, this August company, on August 1st, because to me, some things are sacred, and some things are a cause for humility, and even humiliation. And when I talk about my revered peers, when I talk about some things are sacred, I know you guys get it, but I think you've probably run into people who don't, who say, well, nothing is sacred. And I think that's because our idea of what's sacred gets imposed on us. We're told what we should consider sacred by our parents, or for those of you who went through religion, by your church or by your church fathers, or by your peers, by peer pressure. And I don't ever want to give up, and I don't want you to ever give up, the sense that some things are to be respected, some things are to be revered, some values should never be taken for granted. Some values should never be open to humor or mockery. Some things are sacred. And even though we have a light and fun time here on the podcast, our responsibility not to waste your time is sacred to me. Y'all mean a lot to me. And that's why on August 1st, I can't resist addressing this August company. In fact, I want to share with you one of my exciting things that happened this week. 1,000 miles.
Yes, on the bike.
I actually biked my 1,000th mile.
And that's not a bicycle, or that's not a motorcycle, folks. That's a bicycle.
On a bike.
Yeah, and just to go back, I apologize. Just to go back to the when you mentioned humility, how is that in relation to what you were saying?
Well, there are people who say you should never experience humility. Or you should never be humble. Because if you go to the dictionary, by some definitions, humility or humbleness is the antithesis of pride. And what do we always say? Pride is a virtue. You should act with pride. You should act with your own greatest level of ability and ambition. But also pride is a synonym of self-esteem, is a value. You should have pride. You should experience pride. Well, if humility or humbleness is the opposite of that, obviously you should never be humble. You should never experience humility. But that's rationalistic.
Okay.
That's intrinsicist. That's disconnected from reality.
I'm seeing a definition of humility as a modest or low view of one's own importance.
So when should you ever have a low view of your importance?
There are similar concepts like embarrassment and guilt.
Okay.
And I think that, you can be embarrassed and feel a little guilty about if you make a mistake, for instance, and you think, well, I better go ahead and rectify that and redeem myself from that, redemption and things like that. But I don't think that really has a connection to the idea that you're going to have a low view, like kind of as a principle, like having the principle of having a low view of your importance.
Right.
I don't think that's a good principle, but I think that humility does relate to actually good concepts like guilt and embarrassment, or, just feeling that you need to improve or that you made a mistake and you need to improve.
Well, you're right. And again, taken by that definition, that is not something that you want to feel. And if you do it, it's something that you should work to correct.
Yeah.
But when I see a modest view of one's importance, there are times I have felt humble without it being a negative thing.
I see.
So, for example, when I have a conversation with somebody like James Valiant, well, there are many areas in which he and I talk and I feel at his level. But when we talk about technical philosophy, when he talks about objectivism through induction, I actually experience not humility, but humbleness when I realize that he has achieved an even deeper understanding of a concept than I have. When I'm surrounded by musicians of extraordinary talent, I feel humble in my very modest abilities. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That kind of humbleness is simply a motivation to improve oneself.
Right. And also, it could also be, that perspective of a man's got to know his limitations, as my, favorite beloved Clint Eastwood said.
A man's got to know his limitations. So I would never advocate for humbleness. I certainly wouldn't advocate for humility. But I do think that we make a mistake if we are intrinsicist or alienated from the concepts. They are important in reminding ourselves, oh gosh, here's an area I still need to work on. That's all I have to say about that. I'm just falling into this concept of Augustness and applying it in so many different ways.
Well, thank you
for clarifying. But before I go
on,
what's going on in the chat?
Oh, let's see here. We have Jim. Hey there, Jim. He says importance in terms of the definition of humility, importance in relation to what or to whom?
Yes. So there are times I have been part of some operation. I think back in our protest days when we would give speeches against government intrusion. And there were occasions where we organized them or where we gave speeches. And there are other ones where I was a very small part of that and realized I should have been more involved. And that was a humbling experience. Again, if you've never, ever fallen short of your own ambitions and never been involved in something where you think you could or should have been a larger part of it, if you've never, ever experienced that kind of humble feeling, more power to you. And again, I'm not saying it's something you pursue, but it's something to be in touch with.
Yeah, so we have some in the YouTube comments. Thank you for watching on YouTube.
Yes.
We've got some good ideas here. Scott, hello Scott. He says, sometimes the more you learn, it makes you realize how much more there is to be known. And Atlas says, all knowledge works to increase one's self-awareness. And then Tristan, aka Stingy Student, says, humbleness can just be stepping back and looking at the whole context of the world as a whole and understanding your place currently in it. That's an interesting perspective. I wonder if there's a different word other than humbleness or humility that might describe what we're talking about. I mean, you could say, well, it's keeping context, it's knowing your limitations, or it's knowing what to improve on. It's just kind of knowing where you are in the relation to the value that you want to attain that you haven't yet attained.
Yes. Well, you may be right. I guess I'll have to think about that some more because this notion of modesty actually seems to resonate more with the kinds of ideas that I'm talking about. And humbleness as being modest in regard to one's abilities, because frankly, there are abilities that I have that are ones I should be modest about.
Well, actually, you have a lot of abilities that you should be very, very proud of.
That too.
Yeah. Yes.
But, I like to see the whole picture. So before we get too deep into those, there were other great comments here. Scott points out the standard for deciding what is sacred matters. For example, he talks about Ayn Rand's personal preferences versus the philosophy. Yes, the standard matters, and so often these standards are imposed on us. And to me, it's kind of important not to react out of context, a knee-jerk reaction. We talked about this when we talked about sex.
Not having knee-jerk reactions?
Well, that too, but when people... Why is it that people get their hackles raised if anybody tries to judge their sexual preferences? And, as we talked about, well, that's an extremely personal thing. It can be seen as a personal attack. But the point is that the standards are not arbitrary, but in some cases they're also not open to anybody else making that judgment. How dare you? And I get that. I appreciate that. So,
yeah,
I keep mentioning August.
It's here. It's here right now. It's the first of it. Oh my gosh.
Well, and I couldn't resist posting about it. Because again, I'm going to make big changes in August. August is going to be a super ambitious month for me.
Yes,
I had posted on Facebook, I said, August is faster. The hell do you mean August is faster? Well, obviously what I mean is that I intend to do more in August, and that's going to require actually doing things faster. I'm going to need a different perspective. I'm going to need a different approach. I've talked in the past about sense of urgency and perception of speed, and how you can actually change your time dilation. You can actually change how fast you think and how fast you act. And in August, I will be doing that. August reaches further. What does that mean? Well, as I posted on Facebook, August knows you've got another half inch in you. In other words, if you reach up as high as you can and feel the stretch, feel it in your body. Reach up as high as you can and use the wall. Put your fingers on the wall so you can see just how high up you got when you reached as far as you could. Sit there with that for a moment and then reach up another half inch higher. And I have yet to meet the person who hasn't done that exercise who couldn't find another half inch when I said, give me a half an inch more.
I think that relates also to the fact that when you're in the process of improving or doing something or working on something, you can always stretch yourself a little bit more because...
that first stretch helps you make the second stretch.
Yes.
That's absolutely right.
It's cumulative.
Yes, August is tightly focused, but not laser focused, because that would be cliche. I hate the expression laser focused. It's so overused. But yes, you can not focus in the primary sense, that tending to be an either or thing, but yes, you can focus more. You can open those eyes a little bit wider, and that's what I'll be doing in August. August doesn't wait. How many things do we put off until someday, and someday is a day that never arrives? August finds creative solutions and creative problems. And here you thought you'd run out of interesting, compelling, creative, exciting problems. So I couldn't resist, and there are many, many, many more. And the point is, I'm going to live this stuff. If you find any of that amusing, read that post on Facebook. But what it comes down to for me, and I encourage you to join me on this, is I'm going to be applying more of what we've talked about on this show than ever before in the month of August. I've made a lot of changes over the year and a half that we've been doing this podcast.
Yes.
I've learned a lot about the things that we've talked about in researching them. And in August, I intend to be more consistent, more active, more aggressive in applying it. So just to give a couple examples, because I'm not going to go on too long today. This will probably be a short episode because we're really hungry. But...
Well, first of all, we're dieting. Second of all, we're hungry because it's going to be our dinner time soon. So if anybody has any suggestions for what we're going to have for dinner, just let us know in the chat.
What are your dinner suggestions? Well, it probably depends on what we've got in stock. We've got
Yes.
beef in the freezer, chicken in the refrigerator. The cupboards look like a grocery store. There's too much stuff in there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of what we work on in August.
Yeah, should we have a salad or no? I don't know. Yes, no, it's your vote on salad.
No, meatitarian. Just put a bunch of meat on the grill. So, HRSPGT. So, I tend to answer these posts that come up on Facebook like, what's your highest priority in this lifetime? To live my values and to share the wisdom that empowers kindred spirits to do the same. So, somebody asked, what are you doing this week? And I said, well, HRSPGT. What I'm doing is I'm defining my habits, routines, plans, goals, and theme for the month of August. And what that looks like is Well, we discussed Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm working on my atomic habits. So Amy mentioned dietary. Well, I'm making habits, and I'm making these choices atomic. You take them down to the smallest level you can, so that you're not choosing every time whether to do the thing. You develop the habit. So if you're trying to stay away from carbs, throw away all your carbs.
Yeah, bread and sugar.
Yeah, just throw them out. Get rid of them. Or if you've run out, don't buy anymore, which is what I did last week at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Went through all the breakfast cereal and got rid of all of them. And then bought one box of one thing in case it's needed. So remove all the temptations. Make your better choices easier. If you haven't read James Clear's Atomic Habits yet, we did an episode on it. The link's in the show notes. And you can even find short versions or read the Wikipedia version. I think you'll find it compelling enough to read the whole book. Although I sometimes I did do the whole book, but sometimes I have a problem with too many examples. They give too many examples. Just tell me the idea. And of course, it's hard to make a book with just the idea, so they have to give you 300 pages of examples. Long story short, figure out what empowering habits you want to adopt, and then create an environment where those habits become habits. They become easy. They become automatic. They become the default.
Yeah, so food prep, I think, is a really nice thing to do. A good example of setting yourself up for success.
Yes, although to make food prep work, to make it so that you prepare things ahead of time and then your habit is to use what you've done, we have to get a couple steps further. So I said habits. The next step is routines. So create new routines for yourself. The most important of these to me are your morning routine and your evening bedtime routine. So for example, my morning routine in the month of August, and I've been tailoring this and getting ready to do it, but this will be the month I do it consistently. Wake up time is 6 a.m. The first step is planning. Other people will do this in a different order, but it turns out this is what I need to do. This is what works for Robert Nasir's psychology. So under planning, for example, is reviewing the schedule for the day. I keep a paper day timer. I don't do this on a computer. I need it to be visceral. I need pen in hand on paper. And review the schedule for the day. Step 2 under this, my morning routine is affirmations. So I have a series of affirmations to remind myself of the empowering things that I already know about both my situation, my environment, and my own internals, my capabilities, my psychology, what it is that gets me where I want to go. Number 3 is visualization. See what a successful version of today looks like in advance. One of my motivations for this is not only is it recommended by people who develop these routines, but Amy had done this with our dear friend Sarah, who we saw last night. And they did this for a while. I think maybe they should try it again for a while. And what they would do is they would leave voicemails for each other.
That is right.
And how did that work out for you?
That was good, actually. It's something that we definitely need to start up again.
Oh, Amy's writing comments, answering some of the folks in the chat. Well, what happened is
Atlas said that he liked my hair, and I said the hair will change. It is Heraclitean.
Heraclitean hair. Makes sense. That does make sense.
Oh, I just had to repeat that.
Yes.
Okay.
So Amy and Sarah would leave voicemails for each other in the morning, talking about what?
So basically, you start off, number 1, say what you are grateful for the day.
Okay. Well, gratitude exercises are good.
And number 2, then you talk about your day as if it already happened. So you'd say, well, at the time that this was pre-COVID, so at the time, I would say what I was grateful for. Then I would say, I had a great drive into work, and I learned some things from my coworkers that I'm really grateful for them telling me about, and I did a great job, and I met all of my deadlines, and had a great lunch, and it was healthy. It was a very healthy lunch, and I had to be very selective about it. And then then I came home. I had a good drive from work to home, and then I practiced flamenco dance, and then we watched an episode of Golden Girls, and whatever, and just, and it was a great night, and I could look back on my day, and I look back at my day now, and I'm very proud of myself. So it's and you say that in the morning before it happens, so you're just kind of positively visualizing what's going to happen. That really helps.
See, I love that idea. Now, there's two ways you can think about that. You could think about it as fake it till you make it, or you could think about it as pre-scripting your day with an accountability partner. Obviously, I advocate the latter and not the former, where this is not faking it. This is scripting your day and even rehearsing it in advance. Love that idea. So I will be using visualization. See what a successful version of today looks like in advance. Next step of my 5-step morning routine is exercise, and I will be alternating strength and cardio. As soon as I say cardio, people say, cardio doesn't do anything. You're wrong. Well, I take that back. There are people who do cardio in ways where it doesn't do anything. But I will be alternating strength and cardio. And every other day for strength, it'll be either arms, legs, or core. And cardio will be alternating bicycling and jogging. I'm finally at the point where I'm ready for impact again. I'm ready to jog, which is something I haven't been able to do for a while.
I'm up for jogging.
Yeah, so we're going to make that happen. And then the final step of my morning routine, planning, affirmations, visualization, exercise, is write. And my instructions under write are write anything, but write something. And as you know, for me, it always means pen on paper, never on a computer. I write enough on a computer. I could go on Facebook and write an essay as a post. Never has the same impact as pen on paper. So that's my new morning routine for August.
Why is that, Robert, pen on paper?
Pen on paper is visceral. You just don't feel a keyboard the way you feel a pen.
That's very true.
And writing with a pen changes the pace of your writing. I find that the speed with which I can write causes my mind to function at a certain pace.
Right.
And the supervisor does a good job while the executor is executing. It's interesting. There are people who tell me they don't observe themselves doing things. They don't have that ability to detach part of their mind from what they're doing in action. But especially when writing pencil and paper, I can do that. I can think at the same time as my hand is writing. And it's fun because sometimes you look down and you realize you wrote down what you were thinking and not what you meant to write. So I'm not perfect at that, and I'm sure there are people who have greater ability, but writing is different than typing. It's very different.
I find that there's more mind-body integration when you're doing that. There's less middlemen to go through.
Yeah, and again, that's what I mean by visceral, not just I feel like I'm writing, but it changes the integration of your mind and your body. And that may not be I've said before, that might not be you. That might not be the case for everybody, but it's something that I recommend you at least try, and I don't mean try in a 5-minute session, but try and try again. It's enormously powerful, at least for me. So, HRSPGT, month of August. Habits, routines. The third one is plans. Oh, excuse me, I left out schedule. But schedule is just my day timer, my paper planner. So make sure that my schedule matches my plans. My plans review and update the schedule for the week, day, month. Why did I say that in the wrong order? Review and update the schedule for the day, again, that's scheduling, the week, and the month. And in August, I'm looking to add more to the schedule. There are things I planned to do this year that haven't happened yet. So I'm going to try to cram August full of not just my usual plans and accomplishments and self-development, but additional travel plans, overnight bicycling plans.
Yeah.
So, HRSPGT, habits, routines, schedule, plans. The other two are goals. So I have goals, so I need to review my goals. My goals for the month. Yep, so, for example, drop 10 pounds.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be New Year's.
No, God, no. My 2 fitness goals, for example, are drop 10 pounds and improve arm definition. I want my arms to look even better than they already do. And that'll mean getting my not just my weights, but even my push-ups up. After my bike accident, I couldn't do push-ups, and that was a big...
Jim says, impact again, Robert? Not like the impact with the pavement you had recently, I hope.
See, that's what I was just about to mention. Yeah, Easter morning, flipped my bicycle over, and I couldn't do push-ups for, God, like 2 months after that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And thanks for the reminder. No, I was bringing it up anyway. So it's funny that you mentioned that. So, yes, HRSPGT, the final one, T, is theme. So what's my theme for the month of August? More, better, faster, more aware, more awake, make it extraordinary. And again...
And rest on Sundays.
And no rest on Sundays. God, no, I'll get drawn into the weekly objective and I won't finish my notes for this show. Unacceptable. So yes, my theme for the month is best month of 2021.
Yes.
More, better, faster, more aware, more awake, make it extraordinary.
Yeah, so from here, Jim says he has actually a few good comments here. I'm going to all your comments are great, Jim. So he says, quote, routine. Have you both done a program on that, dealing with such issues as about when sticking to routine is important and when it possibly might get in the way of pursuing one's long-term goals? So yeah, prioritization and goal setting and long range thinking. Yeah, we've done this a little bit.
It's interesting you say that because I've done that. But when you say you both, do you mean each of us or both of us together? Because that's one of the interesting things I've learned over the course of 21 years of marriage, is that there are things that we need to plan together, but there are other things we actually have to plan separately because we have different modalities. Different ways of achieving things and thinking about things and
right. We are both individuals.
We are all individuals.
Yes, we are all individuals. It's from Life of Brian.
Yes, of course. It's a great question.
Oh, and he also says earlier, I like this. When I'm trying to come up with this another word for humbleness or humility, he says, I'd like to find a single word for, quote, respect for reality. I guess being objective, but I guess that's two words. Reality being not only objective or physical existence, but also being the fact of others' superior abilities in some areas or their qualities of character.
Yeah, there are ways to describe that, admiration and respect, and don't know about a single word.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I bet there's like a really, really long German word for this. Anybody know German out there? Let us know.
It's funny because I've talked before about words that I want to reclaim that have baggage. Words like tradition or loyalty. And one of the words that came up, I said, well, I don't know if I can reclaim the word faith, even though people use it in ways that are not, belief in the absence of evidence or religious faith. That may be a word that can't be reclaimed. And now I'm thinking, I wonder if humility or humbleness is going to end up in that heap of words I'm going to try to reclaim, but maybe I shouldn't and can't. And reading Jim's remarks makes me think, that one might have to go on the trash heap. That might not be the right word in any context, but at least on the face of it, there are times I feel humble in a way that's a good feeling or a right feeling. And there are times I feel humiliation because I've actually fallen short, or I've actually failed to meet my own standards. So whether they're good concepts in the sense of being something you would want to experience, they're definitely good concepts in that they actually name real things.
Yeah. I love the topic of embarrassment because I've got over a lot of mine. So I just kind of laughed it off now.
And Alice Spoke, of course, who is never afraid to create a neologism, says respectivism.
Oh.
He who respects himself will know how to respect, value, or disdain others. So there we go. Yes.
Yeah, Scott says, bicycling is great between accidents.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's great.
It's funny because I got a comment on the recent 1,000 miles bicycle thread where somebody said, well, it's okay if you actually enjoy the biking, but it doesn't do you any good. It's just wear and tear. And it was actually, I got that comment and right away I had the obvious reaction as, dude, like Debbie Downer, why are you raining on my parade? And then I realized, if I didn't get any criticism, then it would mean people aren't taking me seriously. So hooray for that. And it was exactly the reaction I should have expected when I consider that, I'm making cardio, in other words, just calorie burning, and, working on flexibility and the ability to sustain impact. There are reasons to do cardio. There really are. But as soon as I say that, I know I'm going to get people saying, no, only strength training matters. TTF, train to failure. Haven't you read Mike Menser? I know I'm going to get those comments, and I know it in advance. So I would have felt bad if I had posted that and nobody said, bike riding, pshaw. So
what I say to people when they try to evangelize to me is I say, bravo to you.
Yeah.
Go you.
Go you. And how's that working
awesome.
out for you?
Tristan Stingy Student says, he gives a really lovely compliment. He says, do you know what I love about you two? You laugh and smile at the things you say. It's rare to see people so intoxicated with the things they do, and I am kindred in that manner.
Well, that's
a very,
the best
very
kind
sweet,
of compliment.
Super sweet. And he also says, sorry, I should have saved that for a show on compliments, haha.
Well, but of course he's complimenting himself because he says he's a kindred spirit in that regard. So
exactly. It's that mirror two-way sort of exponential value complementing.
He also says, and this may relate to something I was saying at the time because I don't know that I get the reference. He says, wait, I thought it was called 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir because you were the same person. My mind is blown. I have given an explanation for why the show is called 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir. And actually, I've explained it probably 5 times, and every time I've given a different answer.
Yes.
And that's your answer for today. Someday I'll tell the whole story. No, not really.
No. I mean, there's something special about 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, it's very human because, we've got 5 digits on one hand and 5 toes on one foot, right?
Okay.
So, and 5 limbs generally. So,
and some of us have 4 eyes and 1 nose.
But it's also a great time period for you to just start. Like, for instance, if you're procrastinating about something, then you put on a 5-minute timer and then you start it. You start within those 5 minutes and then you'll be on a roll and then you'll be able to actually accomplish it. So that, that those 5 minutes of trying to gain momentum, that's the 5 minutes. We're gaining momentum, folks. We're getting it done. We're answering all the questions.
It's funny you mention that because one of my August comments on the August thread, where there's like 50 of these, and one of them says, August counts to 5. There will not be a 6.
Well.
Yeah, line stolen from Die Hard.
Oh,
I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. Well, the 5, counting to 5, comes from Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule. If you're trying to get yourself to take action on a decision, you have 5 seconds before procrastination sets in. So once you've decided to do something, count. 1, 2, 3. Don't let yourself get to 5. If you get to 5, you should be on your feet and taking action. Remember the 5-second rule. Don't let procrastination hit you. So, funny that that came up. So this is an early draft created on the premise that what did we learn from Mary Poppins? Once begun is half done. So
yes.
this is my August plan. Or to quote the philosopher James Taggart, you'll do something. So this is me doing something.
So wrong.
And I'm gonna keep tweaking this plan, especially the morning routine. So my homework for the week. I always have homework for the week that I encourage you to join me in. But my homework for the week is to stick to it and to revise it and to improve it as I go. So in that regard, my Post-it note for the week, I'll hold this up for the camera, says faster. As I said, August is faster. But if I tear this one off, it also says more because August is more. But I think there's more. Just this once, What does just this once mean? How does that relate? Well, August is a month. It's 30 days. You could choose to do something really outlandish in August. You could put yourself through hell in August to achieve something you want. And the neat thing is, August will be over on September 1st. Or for us, it'll be over on August 27th when we go to Texas. Pick something outlandish, outrageous, something extraordinarily difficult, something you don't want to live through for longer than a month. And that's my attitude about August. I will do things I would not want to do for the rest of my life to achieve results that I will achieve in August. So that's why I have a Post-it note that says, well, just this once. Which is why the next one in the stack, why do I have more than one Post-it note this month? The next one in the stack says, bring it on. As you know, that's my blood donation expression. And for anything else like blood donation, bring it on. I hate giving blood. I hate when the needle goes in. I hate that it takes so long for the needle to come back out, but I've learned to just look at it all and say, bring it on. So those are my Post-it notes for the week. These will go on my mirror. Actually, I think a couple of these will go on the office wall, and two of them will go on the bathroom mirror. More, faster, bring it on. Just this once, just for the month of August, I'm going to do the most outrageous things. And by the end of the month of the August, I will have established an even more powerful routine, morning routine and evening routine. I will have achieved the tone and definition in my arms even better than they are right now. I will have dropped another 10 pounds, as you know, my 2021 goal.
That was a nice year, 2012.
I got that from the Department of Dyslexia Department. My goal for 2021 was to drop 35 pounds, get back down to my marriage weight. I've only lost 20, and I hit a plateau a month or two ago. And those other 15 have got to go. 10 of them will be in August. I will report to you. Each and every one of you are my accountability buddies, my accountability partners. Thank you so much for that. I should send you money, but in the meantime, I'll ask you for money, because that's right. As we reach the end of the show, it's time for me to announce that show notes will be posted with links to all of the interesting things we talked about, even though there weren't that many this time, including a few previous shows that relate to this one, will be posted within 10 minutes of the end of this show. We will post them both on the YouTube comment section, or whatever they call the description section.
I've done this already.
And we will post them on the Facebook comments.
Oh, not the show notes, but the...
Yes, the post.
Yes.
That's right. If you have ideas for our next show, or the one after that, or maybe the one right after that, please post them either in the chat here or in the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook group. If you need a link to all those good things and our Patreon and PayPal links, go to robertnasir.com. robertnasir.com, your one-stop shopping.
That's right.
For all things 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir.
Everything that you need in life is right there, and I've got that in both the Facebook and the YouTube chat.
So you don't even have to type it. Just click it.
Boop.
Yeah.
Go
and
boop
and
on it.
And like some of you already do, you could become patrons of the show. You could become our greatest benefactors.
Yes.
Even more than Ayn Rand or life itself.
Yeah, if you find this of value, then you can actually trade with us and be traders of value. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. To borrow Yarnbrook's favorite expression, value for value, people. And hey, he's right.
So Holly has one quick question, or
yes.
Not question, but comment. She's saying, I'm finding my ability to adapt or learning to has been more crucial lately than sticking to a set routine. I try to write down a simplified schedule at the least.
What I love about a written schedule is that you can modify it. It's kind of like ethics, like philosophy itself. The great thing about having an ethical system in place is that when I deviate from it, I know where to go back to. There's a lot of people who say, oh, you shouldn't study that stuff because nobody's perfect, nobody's ethical all the time, nobody's epistemologically, their knowledge isn't perfect all the time. People make mistakes. The whole point of knowing what's right is so you know what you're working toward. And it's not even a question of you never get there, because there is no there in the sense of some platonic ideal. The there is the system of ethics, of acting ethically, of acting morally. And so, too, with schedules and routines. Holly, you're exactly right. If you're finding that following a set schedule is not as empowering for you at this point in your life, just having that schedule, or having at least a to-do list, gives you a framework that you can continuously go back to. As you say, oh wait, I shouldn't be doing this scheduled thing right now. I need to interrupt that and do this other thing. I need to adapt. I need to modify. I need to change.
Yes.
For me, this might not be true for you, depending on where you're at, but for me, modifying a schedule is more valuable, and more, I get more done than not having a schedule at all. And I'm not very humble. I'm not that prone to humility, so I don't beat myself up too much when I realize, oh, I've got to change my schedule, or scrap it all together today and come back tomorrow. I love the comment, love the idea, and that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, we're having some comments here on YouTube. I'm sorry. This is, where is it? Oh yeah, Scott says, in lieu of Clubhouse, and we don't do Clubhouse after 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir, and maybe someday we should.
Maybe we'll just go on Clubhouse without, a fancy schedule or anything.
Yeah, so in lieu of Clubhouse, you
can listen to us make chicken.
The sizzling of chicken in a pan. So in lieu of Clubhouse, they will immediately begin dinner. And I said, yes, dinner, no Clubhouse. And then Tristan says, one day there will be dinner and Clubhouse.
Maybe this will be that day.
And I said, well, that's what we've done in real life with Great Lakes Objectivists.
I have to say, I've held off naming our benefactors, our patrons, because I keep meaning to email them about, do they have any privacy concerns about that? But our longest term patron, the person who's been on Patreon the longest of anybody supporting the show, you see him under the name Garney309 there, says, great show. Yes, I finally listened live.
Yay,
Mark, welcome to listening to the show live. Mark's a busy man. He catches these shows later in the week. And,
watch out your ears, everybody.
Wait a minute.
That's for you, Mark.
Now, if that seemed orthogonal or inappropriate, one thing you have to know about Mark is that he's also a man who has the best Halloween decorations of anybody that I know. Much better than what we do. And we're not too shabby, but no, his is, to use the overused expression, it's a whole different level of Halloween goodness. So thank you, Mark. Thank you for checking in. Congratulations on making one of the shows live. You've certainly been supporting us long enough.
Yes.
And
thank you.
You deserve to watch whenever you want to watch. So again, thank you to everybody. I could probably spend another half hour going through the chat and the comments. I will after the show. Believe me, if I miss something live, I always read them afterwards, and it gives me the the good stuff there.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you to you all. As always, we wish you success. We wish you flourishing. We wish you an outstanding month of August. And I hope that the fun we had with this today encourages you to take August even further than you were planning to go, or at least to join us on our August adventure. So thank you. And with that, the only thing I got left, all I got left to do is to wish each and every one of you, in whatever form you're wanting it, looking for it, or giving it out, we wish you love.